A group of conservative moms in New Hampshire who are backed by right-wing moneyed interests are so terrified that their children might be taught American history in schools that they're now offering bounties for teachers who might instruct students on things that they should probably learn about. Now, New Hampshire became one of the several states this year to explicitly ban concepts that have been labeled critical race theory. Now, we've been through this a billion times. Critical race theory is graduate level curriculum. It's something very specific. It is not taught in grade schools, but nonetheless, it's become a catch-all phrase for anything right-wingers don't like. The new regulations require teachers, by the way, found to be teaching divisive concepts, very subjective here, divisive concepts to appear before the state's Board of Education for a disciplinary hearing, which could include losing their licenses to teach in public schools. Now, when Governor Chris Sununu signed the bill into law, a majority of his diversity council actually resigned in protest. So you kind of get a sense of what the real intentions are with legislation like this. Now, the state has even provided a platform to file complaints against teachers suspected of teaching naughty things like American history. Last week, the State Department of Education launched a new website for parents and students to lodge complaints against educators they believe are violating the new law. The list of violations includes teaching that members of one group are inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. All right, and so what's the deal with this group of conservative mothers? Well, they're known as Moms for Liberty. And they are saying that they will pay $500 for every person for the person who makes the first successful complaint against a public school teacher who's teaching the dangerous curriculum of American history. So there it is. We've got $500 for the person that first successfully catches a public school teacher breaking this law. Students, parents, teachers, school staff, we want to know. We will pledge anonymity if you want. Jake.
Yeah, all right, so they've now started bounties on teachers. That's like exactly what this is. It's not a bounty to hurt them, but it is a $500 bounty you collect if you can turn them in. And if you turn them in, they explain they want them fired. These are from people who say they're against cancel culture, by the way. They're still talking, like no one in mainstream media clarifies that cancel culture is a right-wing phenomenon. Look at this, they're looking to get teachers fired all across the country, in this particular case in New Hampshire, for stating the wrong things, which by the way, are actually the correct things. If they teach actual history, they want them fired. And this is not hyperbole and it's not a small case. Polling indicates 4 out of 10 Republicans say that the history of racism in America should not be taught at all.
Yeah, it's absolute insanity.
That it should be wiped away, erased from the history books. You want to talk about cancel culture, they want to cancel our history, okay, actual history. 53% of Republicans say that the continuing effects of racism should not be taught. Okay, so that's an even higher number. So critical race theory isn't even taught. It's an imaginary issue. So what they're trying to get people to do is, shh, do not teach actual facts to our children. If you do, there's a bounty on your head, or at least on your career.
And I mean, we're already dealing with a shortage of teachers, especially during a pandemic where many just could not handle, for good reason, switching over to virtual learning, incredibly difficult. They're already severely underpaid. Before the pandemic, certainly during in-class instruction, they also have to worry about the mass shootings that happen in schools. There's an ongoing debate about whether teachers should be armed in response to mass shootings in schools. Now they have to deal with right-wingers encouraging bounties. If they happen to teach American history that offends some of these conservative moms. And of course, this isn't some grassroots effort, as we've talked about before. Not only is this a manufactured culture war that the GOP is capitalizing on for their campaigning purposes, but this is also something that is backed by moneyed interests. In this case, I want to give you the details. Though Moms for Liberty co-founder Tina has said in interviews that the group is mostly funded by small dollar donors and denied any connection to the Koch brothers or other conservative funders. The group has received thousands from a conservative Florida PAC and hosted a fundraiser in June with former cable news host Megyn Kelly that raised at least $57,000 from sponsors. And by the way, this is a growing movement, if you can call it that. In 10 months, Moms for Liberty has grown to 135 chapters in 35 states with 56,000 members and supporters, according to the organization's founders. The group hopes to one day have chapters in all 3,143 counties or equivalents in the United States. And so if you actually want your child to get a sound education, right? You want your child to learn about history. Doesn't matter what you want, because conservatives have decided that as long as they've got moneyed interests backing them up, they can be the arbiters of what history curriculum should be in our public schools.
Guys, every part of this gets worse and worse. Think about, how are the teachers going to get turned in? Well, the parents are not in the classroom, so they have to teach their kids to turn on their teachers. Listen for anything the teacher is saying. If she's teaching racism, come tell me, we're gonna get $500. We're gonna turn her in and we're gonna try to get her fired. And if we can get her fired, we collect, okay? So listen for, wait, slavery? It sounds like they're saying white people are racist. Okay, that's it, collect the money, get her fired, she's teaching actual history. These are vigilante goons. One of our members wrote in, Greg, great point here. Moms for Liberty, they always have absurd names that are the exact opposite of what they're trying to achieve. Yeah, what kind of liberty is, no, the teacher cannot teach history. She has to teach a whitewashed, wrong version of history, otherwise she'll be fired and I collect my money. And guys, it's not just the teachers that they actually get fired. When they go on this terror campaign to have the kids turn on their teachers, it's gonna intimidate all the teachers until they go, well, I don't even wanna touch it. Let's just not even study that part because it might get me fired. And even if it doesn't get me fired, it's all these stupid Neanderthal parents are gonna come in and yell at me at the top of their lungs. All the kids have turned on me. They've ruined education. They don't believe in science, now they don't believe in history. They don't believe in any facts. Now, if you're a right winger in this country, man, you're a lost cause. Sitting there going, oh no, man, facts suck. We shouldn't teach facts. We should teach propaganda. Racism never happened here. I don't know what you're talking about. Racism here now? Oh, no way. The effects of history, no, don't teach it, Goons. And meanwhile, now on the politics side of it, Republicans take an issue that doesn't even exist. It's imaginary. No one is teaching critical race theory at this grade schools, right? And they won in Virginia on an issue that doesn't even exist. Meanwhile, Democrats have all the issues on their side according to the polling, and they just can't figure out a way to win.
What are they gonna do about the internet? You know, first of all, they're making American history, just learning about it, very taboo. And so, you know what happens to like a human psychology once they're told that something is taboo. And then also, I mean, look, they're apparently succeeding in getting regular American history censored in our public school system, but they can't censor the internet. I mean, I'm sure they'll try. I'm sure they'll try, but
remember it during Trump, they took away net neutrality rules.
Right.
Now, one of the good things you should give Biden credit for, and this doesn't happen very often at all, but he did bring net neutrality back. So thank God for that. Okay, credit where credit is due. But Republicans, yeah, they tried to kill the internet, because why? They put a lot of lies on the internet, and that's worked out great for them. But you also could get the truth on the internet. So they're like, whoa. Let our corporate guys, goons, handle the internet so we can limit that too. They're gonna come for that, but they gotta be careful with that because it's so useful to them in spreading lies that it's a little bit lower priority. Last thing on this, the teachers union had a great quote, and I wanna tell you. They said they basically declared a war on teachers. Now, if Democrats were 1% competent, they would flip this issue on the Republicans and go, are you gonna allow this war on teachers? Which, by the way, is absolutely true.
War on education.
War on education, war on teachers, war on our schools. But Democrats are like, what? Democratic leadership, dumbest people you've ever met in your life. This is handed to you on a silver platter. Not one of them will run on it. Not one. None of them will ever talk about it. Instead, they'll get defensive and try to change the topic. They're just politically negligent and utterly incompetent. And what does the corporate media say? Nancy Pelosi is a master legislator. She is so good at this. Oh, you guys are vomitous and you're fools. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.